The gold coins hit the counter one by one, and every head in the room turned. Etta Rowe did not look up. She kept counting, her rough fingers pushing each coin forward until the pile reached 52 acres worth. The land clerk stopped writing. He stared at her like she had lost her mind. "You want the Thorn land?" he asked slowly. "Past the dead creek, that land, ma'am." "That land," Etta said. Her voice was calm and flat, like she was buying bread, not a cursed farm. Behind her, boots scraped the wooden floor. Men had gathered near the door, drawn by the strange sight of a woman spending her last coins on nothing. A rancher near the window let out a low whistle. Then he laughed, loud and sharp, and slapped his knee. "She's buying the Widowmaker," he shouted to the others. 3 men lost everything on that land. Snakes, thorns, no water, she'll be dust in a month. The room filled with laughter. It bounced off the walls and pressed against Etta's back like a hot wind. Someone spat on the floor. Someone else shook their head slow, the way folks do when they see a fool walk toward a cliff. Etta signed the paper. Her hand did not shake. The clerk pushed the deed across the counter, still staring. "You sure?" "I'm sure," she said, folding the paper once and sliding it into her coat. She turned and walked through the crowd of laughing faces. Nobody stepped aside politely. She had to push past shoulders, past sneering mouths, past old Sam, who caught her arm at the door. "Etta," he said quietly, "that ground killed better farmers than you." She looked at him steady, no anger in her eyes. "Then I'll be the first it doesn't kill." She walked out into the sun alone. Behind her, the laughter started again, louder this time. She did not turn around. The wagon wheels stopped creaking, and Etta finally saw it. Thorn stood taller than her horse, black and twisted like burnt hands reaching up from the ground. The wind moved through them and made a low, hollow sound, almost like breathing. Her horse pulled back and would not go closer. Etta patted its neck and stepped down alone. She built a small fire that night. She did not sleep well. Every snap of a branch made her sit up fast, her hand near her knife. Morning came hard and hot. Etta pulled on old leather gloves and started cutting. The thorns fought back. They tore through the gloves and scratched deep lines across her arms. Blood mixed with sweat and dripped onto the dry dirt. Her back burned with pain by noon, but she did not stop. Days passed like this. Cut, pull, bleed, rest, cut again. At night, alone by the fire, the laughing faces from town came back into her mind. She could still hear the rancher's sharp laugh. She could still see Sam's worried eyes. Her chest grew tight, and tears burned behind her eyes, but she pushed them down. "I chose this," she whispered to the fire. "I won't turn back now." One evening near a small rocky hill, her knife hit something strange while cutting a thick patch of thorns. Not wood, not stone from the ground, something smoother. She dropped to her knees and pulled thorns away with bare, bleeding hands, ignoring the pain now. Her fingers touched cold, flat stone, carved with old lines she did not understand. Her breath caught in her throat. She sat back on her heels, staring at the shape half buried in dirt and shadow. The wind had stopped. Even the thorns seemed still. What is this?" she whispered into the darkening sky. No answer came. Only silence and the strange, cold stone waiting beneath her fingers. The stone kept growing wider the more dirt she pulled away. Etta dug with her hands, then with a small shovel, working faster as the shape became clear. It was not just a rock. It was a bridge, old and half-buried, hidden under years of thorns and dust. Her heart pounded hard against her chest. She pressed her palm flat against the cold stone. Something felt different here. The air smelled wet. She followed that smell, crawling low under the last thorny branches, until she heard it clearly this time. Water. Running water, soft and steady, moving beneath the old bridge like a secret whisper. Etta sat back on the dirt, hand over her mouth. Tears filled her eyes, but this time they were not tears of pain. "Water," she said, her voice shaking. "There's water under here." For 3 days she cleared a path down to the bridge. Her arms ached, but she barely noticed any more. When the path was finally open, she stood at the edge of the cool stream and closed her eyes, letting the sound wash over her. She built a small wooden fence near the water. Then she took the last coins hidden in her boot and walked 2 days to find a passing trader on the old dirt road. "Goats," she told him. "I need goats." The trader raised an eyebrow but said nothing. He sold her 6. Back on her land, the goats ran straight to the water and drank deeply. They chewed on wild bushes near the bridge, and within weeks, their thin bodies grew round and strong. Soon, small baby goats wobbled on shaky legs near the old stones, bleeding into the warm air. Etta stood watching them one morning, dirt still under her fingernails, and smiled for the first time in months. A traveler passed by on the road and stopped, staring at the green patch growing where thorns once stood. That's the cursed land," he said slowly. Etta looked at him, calm and proud. "Not anymore," she said. Dust rose on the road, and this time it was the town riding toward her. Etta heard the horses before she saw them. She stood near the fence, wiping her hands on her apron, and watched the same men who once laughed come closer, slower this time, their faces confused. They stopped at the edge of her land and just stared. Green grass stretched out where thorns used to stand. Goats moved lazily across the field, chewing, playing, resting near a small stone bridge with clean water running beneath it. The rancher who once laughed the loudest sat frozen on his horse, mouth open, saying nothing. The blacksmith slid down from his horse slowly, like his legs did not trust what his eyes were seeing. "How," he said, his voice cracking, "how did you do this?" Etta walked forward, calm and steady, her boots pressing into soft green ground that used to be hard, dead dirt. "I didn't quit," she said simply. "That's all." Nobody laughed now. The silence felt heavy, almost like shame. Sam stepped down from his horse and walked toward her slowly. His eyes were wet. "We told you this land would kill you," he said quietly. Etta looked at him, no anger in her face, only tiredness and quiet pride. It almost did, but it didn't. Sam reached out and shook her hand firmly, holding it a moment longer than needed. "You're the toughest person I've ever known, Etta Rowe." The other men said nothing, but their eyes had changed. No more mocking, only respect, plain and honest. Word of Etta's farm spread fast after that day. Travelers came from far towns just to see the goats and the hidden bridge beneath the thorns that once scared everyone away. Years later, when children in town doubted themselves, old folks would tell them this story. They would point toward the green hills in the distance and say, "Never laugh at someone's dream. Sometimes the land everyone throws away is hiding the greatest treasure of all."